Hi there, Phil Simborg for the USBGF. There's uh, a lot of study that I've been putting in lately and a lot of lessons I've been giving on prime versus prime positions. And thanks to a lot of help from my teaching partners, Stick, John O'Hagan, Perry Gartner, and David Rockwell, I've got some new lesson plans and some new theories that you won't find in any book or even in any article on how to approach many parts of the game. And prime versus prime happens to be one of my best new lessons because thanks to a lot of work by Stick, I now have a very, very good handle on when you should take a cube in prime versus prime positions. And thanks a lot to John O'Hagan in particular, I know pretty well and can teach very well when you give the cube. And that's not really the lesson that I'm going to get into today. Just suffice it to say that because of the two of them and some research that I've done and a lot of input we've done together, we've come up with a very, very good formula for the take and the drop on prime versus prime situations, and generally I get that part of it right. However, in order to really understand the cube for prime versus prime, you have to know how you're going to play the checkers. You have to know how the game unfolds, because you can't tell if you have market losers if you don't know how you're going to play the checkers. You can't tell or come up with estimates of your gammons and wins, which is essential in these kinds of positions, unless you can look at what the possible rolls are and how they unfold. Well, in this position, there's another interesting factor, and that's the score. It's 2-away, 4-away, and red is 4-away. And it doesn't take too much brain surgery to know that when you are 4-away and your opponent's 2-away, anytime you can smell gammons or a chance of gammons, it's going to be a double. The question here was whether it was a take, and we had to look at how various roles play. And without going into a lot of detail or even going into the process, I'll tell you that this is a big double and a big take. And this game can easily turn around very quickly. Just to show you the answer on the double take position, you can see that if red doesn't get a checker out on this roll, he's going to crack here or here, and his timing could be difficult, and he only gets a checker out with a 6 or a 2-5. And so there's some real play here for blue. Even though blue's gammon value goes to 1.0 with the cube turned and he loses 19 gammons, the fact that he has 43 wins puts him above his take point of about 19.8, or call it 20%. So that's what makes it a take. And we talked about today in a lesson with one of my students, we talked about how this game plays out. And we gave red a really good roll. Let's assume that blue does get the cube, as he should. Let's put it on the right side. And let's assume that red rolls a really good roll, a 2-5. And by the way, we determined that with a 5-1, that's another thing. Let's look at that real quick. With a 5-1, he wouldn't come out. He'd make the point because you can win so many more gammons. With a 2-1, red wouldn't make the 22 point. He'd come up to the 22 and hit. Again, more gammons, and also keeping these spread makes it even easier to get them out. But with a 2-5, there's no question red comes out to here. The real question we had then was, how does blue play his checkers? You have to understand that as well. Well, getting into the checker play in addition to the cube play illustrates something that one of my favorite sayings: every disciplined action reaps multiple rewards. So really learning and understanding the cube will also reward you, because you have to learn and understand the checker play. So we gave blue a series of interesting checker plays here, and one that I found very interesting, because I wasn't sure and it took quite a bit of analysis to get to this, is how does blue play a 5-1 from here? How would you play a 5-1? Well, the 5, I think, is automatic. There's very little doubt about the hit. Where's the 1? And there's very little question that there's 3 possible 1s. You can clear the blot, you can make the 8 point, or you can play 23-22. So, what's your play and why? Think about it, and I'll be quiet for a minute. Well, let me help you. 8 to 7 doesn't seem like a really good idea. Making this point, or keeping it slotted so you can make it next time, sure seems like it's a heck of an idea, and gives you a lot more wins. We can see the advantages of 23-22. What do you think is right? Well, my first gut reaction was 23-22 to save gammons and to have a more solid position. It turns out to be very wrong. It turns out you get gammon more by playing 23-22, not less. Now that you know that's the case, why is that? Well, it's because a 1-6, 2-6, 3-6, and 3-5 all hit this checker. It's because a 2-1 and a 3-1 come in and hit this checker, or this checker. There's all kinds of other play to this game. Double 1 comes in, hits this checker, and this checker. So, for a lot of reasons, and also the fact of timing, it's better to make the 8-point. Because now, it's quite possible that with this prime, that red will crash and blue might gain some timing in this game, either by getting hit or rolling a 6, or just keeping his prime longer. So let's go back to the original. Well, I don't need to go back to the original. I've already got an answer here. I got to find the position. That was number 512. So I got to find 512 with the answer. No small process with my messy board. I'm organizing this. I just got a new computer that runs faster, an i7 quad, which I strongly recommend if you're serious about the game. Okay, I found it. Here is Extreme Gammon. Here is 512 answered. The reason I keep them on my desktop when I need them is I can just drag it right on instead of going to find the file by opening it. And usually I can find it much more quickly. By the way, I give a whole course on organization. I could use that course myself, but on organizing your files and how to access good access positions and how to access information if you want on certain types of games. One of my courses to many of my students is just a whole course on that, and of course another whole course I give on just how to use Extreme Gammon. Well, look at this play. Look at the difference. You actually get gammon more. You get gammon 19% if you make the 22-point, because of all those hits that you get involved in here, and here, and here. So you're actually better off making the point by quite a bit. I thought this was a fascinating play and a really good lesson. Now, take it a step further. Again, there's multiple rewards, and I won't go into it now. Look at all the other scenarios. Look what happens if red didn't come out with that checker, and he came out with this checker. Look what happens. Well, I'm on my old computer, so this is going to run slower because I don't have my recording software on my new computer yet. I got to switch it over. But look at different scenarios. Look at how you play a 4-1. Look at how you play a 6-5. I mean, these are very, very interesting plays. You can see now it's right to come up. It makes that big a difference that he doesn't have the direct shot at this checker. So these are really, really fascinating things. Change the position by just this one pip from here to here, and it's now hugely right to make, or pretty right to make the 22-point. The other way it was hugely wrong. So again, change the roll, change the position, change the score. Turn it into a normal match score where gammons aren't worth 1.0 and where gammons count both ways. And you'll find a lot of fascinating information in studying these positions. I love prime versus prime. You're on roll, you're a big favorite, you can gammon him, you don't perform, he's on roll, he's a big favorite, he can gammon you. It's back and forth. It's the height of volatility, it's the height of excitement. And how often do you see the guy on roll not roll double sixes, instead he rolls double fives, crashes his board, and the other player's a huge favorite? How often do you see you get the chance to hit him loose and he rolls a double 1 or a 1-2, turns the entire, or a 1-6, hops in and out? This is just fun. This is just great drama. That's what backgammon's all about. I hope you're enjoying it as much as I am. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.